Today's episode is proudly sponsored by Pyxis Lab, the leading manufacturer of inline and handheld monitoring technology for the water treatment industry. Are you tired of the fouling issues and maintenance requirements that come with using a standard DPD wet chemistry chlorine analyzer? Introducing the Pyxis OxyPanel Plus, a non-wet chemical oxidizer and pH analyzer with an auto-brushing reservoir that gets you the results you need in the most challenging of applications. No more electrolyte solutions, membrane gels, or reagents. Simply replace the electrode head assembly. However, you're not even going to have to do that very often, as the head assembly offers a 2-year lifespan. The single sensor platform is sure to impress with a touchscreen display, ultrasonic flow meter, and advanced compensating algorithms. Reduce your time spent on fouling and maintenance issues by replacing your wet analyzer with a new Pyxis OxyPanel Plus. Have an application? Pyxis has a solution. Go to scalinguph2o.com/Pyxis to find out more. Once again, that's scalinguph2o.com/Pyxis, Pyxis. Pyxis, because water professionals deserve better. Welcome to the Scaling Up H2O podcast, the podcast where we scale up on knowledge so we don't scale up our systems. Trace Blackmore, your host, coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia. And I will not be in Atlanta, Georgia next week. No, I will be in Louisville, Kentucky, because next week is the Association of Water Technology's annual convention. Folks, I hope to see you there. This is the big convention that I've actually been part of planning in the past. When I was president-elect back in 2010, I planned the Reno convention. So I can tell you there is a lot that goes on behind the scenes whenever you get that many people together in a venue, and you want to make sure everybody is having a great time at all times. So I want to thank all the people that make the AWT convention and all of the different conventions and shows that we talk about on this show such a great success. I hope that I get to see you at AWT next week. And I also hope that you listen to some of the conferences that we talk about each and every week on this show, and you start planning ones to attend. And I know for some people that might be out of your comfort level. And if that is you, we've actually had 2 shows in the past. We had Donna Schrader come and talk to us about how to help introverts navigate networking and all the things that you have to do during one of these activities. That was episode 96. And then she came back on episode 202 to kind of refine episode 96, but also add in virtual conferences. So if you want to get some tips from Donna, definitely check those episodes out. And let me tell you, when I go to one of these shows, I have a goal that I will come back with one thing that I will do something with, that I will change how I'm doing something, that I will meet somebody, I will interact somehow. And that's a pretty simple list. And it makes it very easy for me to be successful with that. So if you go to a conference, what's the one thing that you're going to pick up from that conference and put into action when you get back? I do that with every book that I read. Kind of takes the pressure off me to put everything into effect, because let's face it, that's not going to happen. And then we're not going to do anything. So what's that one thing? So if you're at AWT next week, what is that one thing that you are looking for? And maybe you don't know it. Maybe that's it. And that's how mine is written. I'm just looking for the one thing, and I know it when I find it. So maybe that's you. I'm going to be there next week. I'd love to hear what your one thing is, because maybe it's better than mine and I'll copy it. So come find me if you're at the AWT next week. Some other things that are going on that you might want to put on your calendar is World Rivers Day. That's going to be September 22nd. And this is all about how do we improve the stewardship of all of our rivers around the world. We'll have information for this for you on our events page. Scale Up Nation, I always want to make sure that I keep you in the know as the host of this podcast. And something that I want you to be aware of is the business owners meeting that the AWT puts on one day before the annual convention. So the annual convention is September 10th through 13th in Louisville, Kentucky. So hopefully I will see you there. And hopefully, I will also see you on September 9th at the Business Owners Meeting. Now, many of you may have come to the Business Owners Meeting. This year's theme is Unleashing Communications to Accelerate Growth. And folks, I have seen the lineup, and this year they have an incredible lineup. I'm actually part of that lineup. I am proud to say I am going to be speaking on the temperaments. Yes, I said this, you heard that, how your wiring colors your communication. And of course, this is a tool that has helped me tremendously, but you're also going to hear from so many other people that are going to explain how we can better communicate to all of our relationships. And folks, let's face it, if we are not communicating as leaders, if we're not communicating in our company, we are not running efficiently. So I promise, if you increase your power of communication and you use some of the things that you will learn in the business owners meeting, I promise it will make an impact. Go to scalinguph2o.com, go over to our events page, and we'll have all the information for you on this year's AWT Business Owners Meeting, and I hope to see you there. Also, IAPMO is having their annual education and business conference in September 19th through 26th. That's going to be in Las Vegas, Nevada. We'll have that information on our events page. And Industrial Water Week is coming up. Folks, this is not a place that you need to go anywhere for, but you need to celebrate each and every day. Of course, we are the official podcast of Industrial Water Week, and we will have a brand new episode for you each and every day that week for you to celebrate pre-treatment on Monday and boilers on Tuesday and cooling on Wednesday, wastewater on Thursday, and then we wrap it up with careers on Friday. A brand new episode each and every day. And my favorite thing out of that week is when you take your social media post and you add the hashtag Industrial Water Week or IWW24, because now I get to see all the things that you are doing. I love it. People are taking pictures next to a softener on Monday or maybe next to a boiler on Tuesday. I would love for you to do that. You see how strong the Scaling Up Nation is. We're all celebrating Industrial Water Week. And my absolute favorite thing is when people post pictures of a cake. So many companies are getting a cake on Friday for careers to celebrate the end of Industrial Water Week. So if you get a water cake, take a picture of it. There actually is a recipe for a water cake. We've talked about it the last couple of years on this podcast. I personally don't recommend it, but if you want to make it, we've got that on our show notes page of Yester Podcast. Is that how you say that? Well, that's how I'm going to say that. I don't recommend making it, but I know a lot of you have. There's no perishable ingredients in it, so anything that tastes good just isn't in that cake. A lot of people will go to their local bakery and they'll put their company logo or the Industrial Water Week logo or a compilation of a bunch of those things, and then that's the cake. That probably tastes a little bit better. So whatever you do, remember to take a picture of it and hashtag it to Industrial Water Week or IWW24. And to put on your calendar, that's going to be October 7th through 12th. It's always the first full week in October. And the last conference that I will mention before we get back to the AWT is the International Water Conference, the IWC. That's taking place November 3rd through 7th. And that's going to be in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Planet Hollywood Resort. So if you can check that out, that's also one of my favorite conferences. I was the keynote speaker last year. Such great people there. They were so incredibly kind to me during the entire convention. And some of the best technical papers in the industry come from the IWC. So that's November 3rd through 7th. Everything I mentioned and more, we are going to have for you on our events page. Very easy. Go to scalinguph2o.com, go over to our events page, and we have every single activity that we know of listed on that page. Well, folks, I mentioned AWT is next week. I know I am really looking forward to that. And hopefully you're going to be there. As always, I'm going to invite you. If you are attending, please try to find me. I want to talk with you. And I also want to make sure that you know that everything is shifted a little bit this year. So we're not starting on the normal day. So if you're used to the regular schedule, then you just shift that one day forward and you are fine. However, if you're on the old schedule, the regular schedule, you're going to be disappointed because you're going to miss some things. So I'm saying all this, make sure you check the calendar, make sure you check the schedule, because I want to make sure you see everything that you want to see. And one of those things might be the business owners meeting, and that is taking place on Monday. And I have the honor of teaching the business owners of the Association of Water Technologies the language of temperaments. Folks, I have been studying temperaments for about a decade now. And Kathleen Edelman, who I have had on this show multiple times, she was originally on episode 117. Then we had her back on episode 179. And then again on episode 281. Well, since that last episode, she has personally been mentoring me and teaching me all things temperaments, how she got a lot of her information. And I've added this to how I coach other people. And folks, it is just a game changer. And I'm so excited to be able to talk about that with the business owners. We're going to talk just scratching the surface of temperaments. But my hope is that I can break through the tremendous power that if we communicate better with other people and we get rid of that gray in communication, everybody just rows better in the same direction. It is such a power increase when you increase your communication with your team. And that's really the theme of this year's business owners meeting is communication. Now, right before I come on, my speaking coach, Des Thornton, will be there. And he's talking about communication. And we've had Des on the show. He was on episode 60. And Des is the person that coaches me to talk more better. I did that on purpose. Des would not like that. That's not proper English. He is coaching me to speak better, to use better hand gestures. If you have ever seen me speak 10 years ago, it looked like I was going to fly off stage. Now I am very direct and intentional with what I do with my hands so I can punctuate certain points and I don't distract people in the audience. He's also taught me how to work a stage a lot better, when to move, how to address the audience. Things that you just don't know how to do until somebody teaches you those items. And as I've been speaking more and more, whether I've been a keynote speaker or just at a local company, they've had me as a guest speaker. Being able to know how your body language is affecting your communication and knowing how to directly connect with the people you're talking to has just been a game changer. Des is going to be talking about communication, of course, and then Casey Brown is coming on. She was on episode 363. She's going to be talking about pricing and how do we value what we do and price that accordingly. Folks, there are so many great speakers. There's going to be 3 other speakers that are coming to the Business Owners Conference. If you're going, you are just going to have a tremendous time. It's the best lineup I think we have had. Every year it just gets better and better. So hopefully I will see you there on Monday. And then, of course, AWT starts on Tuesday. So Tuesday, we will be starting with the soft opening, I guess they call it, with the convention hall on Tuesday night. And then on Tuesday night, we will be welcoming, honoring the new CWTs later that night. And if you're a CWT, I want to speak directly to you. I am so proud that you got this designation. This is something that sets you apart from everybody else in our industry. It proves to the people in our industry that you are among the best in the industrial water treatment industry. And that certification speaks volumes to your potential clients about who and what you are about. So congratulations for getting that. And if you are accepting the award that they give you for getting your CWT this year, I will be in the audience. I personally want to shake your hand, and I want to give you a Scaling Up H2O button. And that's going to be your special CWT button. And so many people are wearing buttons at the convention. So be sure to get yours. But if you're a new CWT, I'm so proud of you. If you're thinking about getting your CWT, you might want to go to scalinguph2o.com/CWT prep. I did a free course, will cost you absolutely nothing, where I've gone through how to get your CWT handbook, the #1 handbook from the AWT website. And I go through everything that handbook talks about, answers some questions that you might need to know to make sure you're successful in all the things, all the logistics you have to navigate to take that exam. And then there's 10 practice questions within that book. I give you a little sample of what I do in the 100-question exam prep course, that you can see how we use logic to go through some of those answers. So that's totally free to you. And if you like that and you want a great way to kind of see where you are and what you need to study and build your confidence to take the examination, well, that's the paid-for course that is also on that site with the 100 exam question that I wrote to help you to kind of see where you are right now. But all that to say, I'm so proud of all the CWTs out there. I mentioned buttons. I am going to go to the conference next week with so many buttons. I don't want to go home with all those buttons. I want to give them to you. And I love seeing people wearing those around the convention hall. That just makes me feel great because I know that's a member of the Scaling Up Nation. So please come find me or a member of my team. We would love to give you a button. And there's so many people that get one every year, and sometimes the designs change. So you never know. So find me for a button, find me to say hi, and a little bit more about the AWT sessions next week. The general sessions start on Wednesday. Remember, I told you that's normally Thursday, so it's Wednesday this year. Everything shifts a day forward. And then the awards dinner is Wednesday night this year. So just make sure you're checking the schedule. And we are wrapping the conference up on Friday, not Saturday, as we normally do. Not a big deal if you check the schedule. If you don't check the schedule, you're going to be a day late. I don't want that for you. So make sure you are checking the schedule. Now, something else you might attend at AWT is going to be Thursday night at 6 p.m., and that is the Women of Water reception. That's going to be 6 p.m. Thursday night, and you get to meet all of the women in the industrial water treatment industry that are at that conference. And this is not just for women. The committee wanted me to make sure I told you that. You are welcome to come if you are not a woman. Highly encouraged to come if you're in this industry and you are a woman. This is about everybody working together. So, Nation, with that, I am going to let you enjoy the interview with the Committee of the Women of Water. Scale It Up Nation, you are in for a treat today. And this is something that we have never done on this podcast. Now, I've normally introduced you to a lab partner. On occasions, I will introduce you to 2 lab partners. Today, we have 6 lab partners. You are going to meet the Women of Water. We're going to learn all about that newly formed committee, not a newly formed group, but it is now a committee. We're going to learn all about that, and we are going to hear from each one of the 6 on the panel. Paul, why don't we start with you?
Oh,
And she
yes.
asked surprise, like she didn't know I was going to call on her. That's why you're here on the podcast.
Yeah.
Paul, tell the Scaling Up Nation a little bit about yourself, and you are a returning guest.
Yes, indeed. What a privilege. Trace, thank you so much for having us and Scaling Up Nation. What a joy to be with you all. So my name is Paula Genest. I'm the Director of Sales and Social Responsibility at TGWT, Clean Technologies. But you may know us more under Tan Guys, but since we have the Women of Water at AWT, we like to say the Tan Girls. So this is where we stand. And I think that being part of the AWT, wow, it's all about belonging and elevating and finding and having the voice of so many women members of AWT joining the ones of so many men. So here you go.
All right. Well, welcome to the show. Why don't we move to Pam next?
Hi, Trace. Thanks so much for having us today. My name is Pam Simmons. I am the OEM National Sales Manager for Watson Marlowe Fluid Technology Solutions. Been in the industry for, going to stop at 25 years, but 25 years plus, and I have participated in the Women of Water since the charter began. Fun fact, when it started, we were originally WOWT, WOWT, and it was Women of Water Treatment. And I said, let's remove the T, let's just be WOW. So we are now WOW. So I'm a part of Women of Water because I love the networking and I love just the camaraderie and, just mentoring others.
How about Michelle next?
Hi, Trace. It is so good to be back here on Scaling Up. It's been a while since I've been on the podcast.
It has been. You were an early episode.
Yeah, I really was. But it's really nice to be back. For those who don't remember, I am the marketing director, officially in title, of GLA Water Consultants, based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm currently an AWT board member and a member of WOW. Like Pam, I've been around with WOW for a very long time. Pretty much been in the industry my entire life, growing up in it. And my dad started the company, and I officially got into the industry in 2010. Yeah, January of 2010. But why I'm in WOW is, what I'm doing right here. I've got a little girl on my shoulder, and it's just so empowering to sit there and be an example for her and be a light for her, to sit there and show her what it's like to be a boss babe. Per se, and be able to show her all the things that women are capable of in this industry and in others.
And brand new little girl, I will add.
Brand new, little Katie.
Still has the new baby smell.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Steph, how about you?
Oh my goodness. Hello, Trace, and hello, Women of Water. I am so excited to be here. My name is Stephanie Choury, and I'm with Buckman Digital Water, a division of Buckman. I've been in the industry a little bit over 15 years, and I've enjoyed it. I too, Michelle, as you just mentioned, 2010 was my first year that I attended the Association of Water Technologies convention in Reno. And that is where I met Pam Simmons, who took me under her wing and brought me into this amazing committee now, Women of Water. And I definitely am here because of this. I enjoy the opportunity to network, but also to have a group of women that understand what we're achieving every day in our own organization. So this is an honor to be here. Thank you.
How about Genest next?
Hi, Trace. This is my first time on Scaling Up, so I'm really happy to be here. And I am the president of AMSA Inc. We are a specialty chemical supplier to the water treatment industry. And for me, I came from education, which is more of a female-dominated industry. So in coming into the water treatment industry, it was interesting to be in a more male-dominated industry. So I joined WOW really, and I want to be a part of this group to help bring more women into the industry and to, make women feel more empowered to be in leadership roles as opposed to just being a participant in the industry.
And last but certainly not least, Tammy.
Good morning, Trace and Scaling Up Nation. I'm excited to be back as well. My name is Tammy Faber. I'm the sales director of HOH, and I also have the honor of serving on the board of directors at AWT. And I also get to walk hand in hand with Paul as we lead WOW. And so Super excited. I've been in water technology since 16 plus years. I'll go with Pam with the plus. My whole life has been in an industry that was male dominated from my very first step into a paper mill. And I learned to be the only woman in the room, and it's not always easy. And so my involvement with WOW is really at the heart of who I am. I love helping and serving others and getting them to elevate to the next level and really reaching for them to think, what else am I capable of that I hadn't thought of? And so that's at the heart of why I serve on the board of directors and serve this committee as well.
Excellent. Well, everybody, welcome to this podcast. And I don't know how we're going to do 6, but we're going to figure this out. Of course, we are talking about WOW, Women of Water. And thank goodness you changed the name from WOUT. I don't know who came up with that. So, Pam, great call on that. Paul, I want to ask you, a lot of people might not know about Women of Water. What is Women of Water, and why does everybody need to know?
I think it's that this is such a great question. It goes back to what is the purpose of Women of Water, and it is part of the Association of Water Technologies that has so many committees that are resources to all the members. So Women of Water is another resource for all the members, but it really exists because we wanted to welcome and highlight and salute and celebrate the women members of the AWT. And it's a vision and that the AWT has, but it is there to exist and to form a community of women members and to encourage all the women that are working and thriving within the industry of water technologies to come forward and to contribute their time, their talent to the greater good of the water industry. So I guess at the core and the focus is really to create a sense of belonging, supporting one another, championing each other, and also growing our knowledge, our skills, and yes, to support and pursue different leadership roles. And leadership has been the talk of the town. There's on the spectrum a quiet leadership or something more dynamic, but this is part of the discussions that we are having. So it is leadership roles within the AWT and also in the workplace. So really, we want the wow factor, again, is to belong, to elevate, and to give a sense of being able to have a positive impact, have a contribution to the AWT, being a woman, and creating a thriving community where we come together, and sometimes we address some topics or concerns, and always to be part of the greater AWT, our WOW, the Women of Water community, and to elevate one another as professionals in the water treatment business.
Steph, how would you say the committee is helping women in the water treatment field?
A specific example where the committee's focus on supporting women to grow their knowledge and skills can be seen today on this podcast. As Tammy had mentioned earlier, we have 3 women here that serve on the AWT board of directors.
And that's a record, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever had that many at one time. That is phenomenal.
Isn't this absolutely awesome? So Tammy Faber, Pam Simmons, and Michelle Lunn, all are women that serve on our AWT board of directors. And I believe that we've seen throughout the years the impact that these women, as well as others, have made to help cultivate a positive impact on the industry and its development. Through speaking with these women on the board, I've found that they feel that they have a seat at the table. They have a voice. And I see that their collaboration with the other board members who are male has also showcased how differences of opinions can lead to change. And personally for me, because of these women, they've impacted my career to not only make the choice to stay in this industry, but also to make a career move into a new organization that actively encourages women to grow into leadership roles. I wouldn't be here today or even on this podcast if it weren't for these women as mentors, friends, and leaders who helped me believe that I belong.
Paul, I love that you all are trying to create a sense of belonging. That's one of the core values of the Rising Tide Mastermind. So I want to ask, how does the WOW committee do that?
I mean, I guess it's really through experience sharing, knowledge sharing. I think it's all about also having been in the business or even entering the business, how we experience the water treatment day to day. And I guess it's fostering the collaboration and also anything to do with how we can give a sense of belonging and elevating the members. I guess that's how we would do it. And also by having on the third Tuesday of each month, a monthly WOW committee, that also drives the discussion and the collaboration. So where we are coming together as one core group, if I might say so. So I guess it's really being able to look at some of the skills. How do we go about enriching the conversation through education? And again, it was mentioned previously. AWT is a reference to its members. So the WOW committee really provides different references and experiences that we need to share and put together to really give a sense that we can do it. There's an hashtag that we've been using is hashtag be wow. So the B is really to belong and to elevate. And again, the wow factor, I think we each have it within ourselves, but how do we express it? And I think it is it is a way for us when we enter a room, we're never alone. We're always supported by all these fantastic women of water. So this is how the magic is happening, if I might say so.
Pam, throughout your career, what ways have you seen more inclusion and more collaboration within the workforce?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. For me, my situation has been a bit different throughout my career. I have always had a male boss, and I've been so fortunate in the companies that I've worked for that they have been my biggest cheerleaders, and they have cheered me on, they have coached me, they have mentored me. But I realized that maybe my situation was unique, and that not every woman in this industry has had that beautiful opportunity to exist in a workplace where I wasn't viewed differently. And I will say that I've always been the only female in my peer group. And so I think that's one reason why Women of Water is so important to me, because I see that not everybody comes from the same background, not everybody comes from the same experience. But I do believe that bringing awareness to the industry is really a key component in bringing everybody to the same table and giving everybody the same opportunity. You take a look, as what we've mentioned already on the podcast, we have 3 women participating today that are on the board of directors. And I don't feel like we're treated any differently in the boardroom. And I think we're respected. We all have a sense of respect and a sense of ownership and belonging. So I think that, with STEM in today's world, there are a lot of younger women who are coming into the industry. And I think everyone is aware that they have a lot to offer. So just in general with the AWT, you go to a convention, you see many more women walking the halls than you did before. And I feel like as a society, we have barriers. We have gaps in the workplace that are gender specific. But I think that overall, our industry we're on the right track.
Genest, how have you seen diversity positively influence decision making and problem solving?
Yeah, I'm going to kind of go to the larger AWT group right now. Within the AWT is an association of our trade association for water treatment service companies, but we also have supplier members within the AWT. And I've seen the supplier members bring a lot of innovation, diverse backgrounds, technology, on chemicals, equipment, services, and that background of different perspectives really has enhanced the innovation within the AWT. So then more specifically, I'm on the Business Resources Committee, and that is a group which a lot of the AWT members are small and medium-sized water treatment companies. And they don't necessarily have the expertise to have a department for every business sector, and they're trying to run businesses. So our Business Resources Committee, it has a female chairperson, Jill Cavano, who is Scranton Associates, a blender supplier member. And we have a nice balance between men and women on that committee. We have brought resources to the AWT companies for running businesses. We do webinars. We run a business owners meeting. We set up that agenda. And I think that that's a great example of men and women working together, suppliers and water treatment service companies with very diverse backgrounds that have made the industry overall more innovative and just elevated it due to all of those diverse backgrounds.
Trace, we talk a lot about inclusive and diversity, but I really like the word welcoming. So being inclusive, but also welcoming. And I think that through the WOW and through the different opportunities that are provided to professional water treaters, this mentorship opportunity to accompany women, and I think that it was just in various stages of their careers, because we have some young women entering the field, while others are more experienced, and it is that coming together of the different experiences in the careers that really makes it an inclusive and welcoming industry landscape, if I might say so.
Tammy, mentoring's been mentioned at least a half dozen times on this episode. So I want to ask you specifically about mentoring. Specifically, what does the mentor and the mentee get from that process?
Well, I think I want to start and take a step back before I answer the mentor-mentee and what they give. And that is that the importance of mentor-mentee relationships. And the book we've been reading is Lean In, and Sheryl Sandberg talks about that it's crucial for career progression, but she also talks about how women are less likely to have mentors, and that it even shows that if you have a mentor or a sponsor, that your career will advance at a quicker pace. And I think that's important because as we walk into the room of young professionals at technical training or at convention, you're starting to see more young men and women entering the field at a younger age. And it's not just about, as an older professional, helping a younger professional. It's leaning in and helping one another. And so as I think we form these bonds, and this is one of our tactics for this year, is to work with the young professionals and bridge this. And we can grow both as the mentor and the mentee. There are many things that Michelle and Stephanie have taught me over this past year about the way they handle things differently, because I'm a red temperament. Stephanie's a yellow temperament. How do I handle, situations and from a younger perspective? So when we form these bonds and relationships, we have that sense of belonging, but we also can help one another grow, whether it's the young professional or the experienced professional. And I think one of the things that sums it up for me is Don Caloradis, who's our president-elect. We were talking and he shared with me that recently. He said, WOW is the best example of new members and old members coming together to help one another. And he said, generally, WOW is the most welcoming group of people. And that if all the other committees could have that same sense of welcoming and belonging, how well could AWT do? And so I think that's why this mentor-mentee relationship is so important, because there's something to be said when I can walk in a room and I already know 5 people that maybe I only saw them at technical training in March, and I'm walking in September, but yet we've connected through text, email along the way, and it feels like family. And that's what it's about. And the other side of that, I would say, is it's also a safe place that if I'm struggling with something that maybe is I would call it a sandpaper customer that maybe is looking at me or talking to me a little differently because I'm the only water treater in the room. I'm the only woman. I'm the only male. I'm the only young professional. I have a group of people I can tap into, and I can call Genest and say, hey, have you ever dealt with somebody like this? Do you have any advice? And I can call Pam and say, I can't get this sale closed. Do you have an idea of how maybe I can get this guy? This is his argument, or this is my roadblock. And there's so many things that we can tap into. Yes, we're competitors, some of us, but we're also a group that wants one another to succeed. And that's what the power of mentor and mentee is to me.
Pam, what are some of the challenges that the committee's currently working on that will benefit the water treatment industry?
Well, I think it's the challenges that are faced in every industry. Women face challenges in the workplace every day. And this is certainly not isolated to the water treatment industry. When I speak about the issues, I'm addressing the issues that we face together as a society. And that's why it's so important. And some of the things that are just pretty, general knowledge in our world is the gender pay gap. I like to support my statements with some, facts. And the International Labor Organization reported that women globally are paid about 20% less than men. Lack of equal opportunities. Deloitte Global's Women in the Boardroom report from 2022 stated that only 19% of boardroom positions are held by women. Difficulty overcoming career gaps. And I think the best example of this would be returning from the workforce after having a baby or caring for a family member, during a time of need. And also barriers in leadership. This is not the blame game. Okay. This is the difficulty of a woman juggling work and home obligations sometimes that prevents them from pursuing these leadership positions. Women are more likely to be faced with making a choice than a man is. And is it work or is it family? And as a society, I believe we have much more to gain by a woman choosing family, but it still represents a challenge for us. And then work-life balance. I feel like everyone, regardless of gender, can relate to this topic. It's one that impacts every single family member, but in very different ways. The dynamic of a family unit has an everlasting impact on a person's life, for better or for worse. My daughter is a pediatric nurse practitioner, and she works long hours at a hospital, and she has 4 young children under the age of 10. I'm witness to the challenges they face every day, and it's truly, survival of the fittest. So as a committee, I think that the resources that we're going to introduce and that we're going to work through are things that will just help people be able to cope with the challenges that they face every day.
I can't believe it. Our favorite time of year is next week. We're all going to be together for the Association of Water Technologies convention next week in Louisville, Kentucky. Paul, why are you excited about it?
I'm so excited because we're going to be having a general session about dare to differentiate and having the wow factor and also it's like the wow at AWT is really, I would say, some sort of an emerging response to the growing recognition of the need of being a welcoming community, and AWT wow exactly is doing that, and having a reception where we can all toast the successes of what has been accomplished as a first year for the official committee. It's to salute the vision of an entire association of water technologies. And I think that it's also remembering where we come from, because the wow really exists because let's think about it. Many, many years ago, there was a Pam, there was a Cindy, a Heidi, and other that were in a room, and they made a toast to what women could bring and were bringing to the table when it came to a thriving industry. And here we are, a growing family community of women of water members coming together. So I think it's celebrating the value of having created and reinforcing and elevating a dedicated space and community for women to come and network, to share experiences, and again, put together some resources to continue to grow. And leaning in, there is a reason why this book was chosen as the first step to having a book club. It's all of us writing the very first chapters. The story has been in the writing for many years. And each and every one of us has been taking under the wing, not to name Pam, but under Pam's wing. And I feel that there is I'm not going to say a book of life, but we are generating something that is so exciting, and to be part of it, it is such a privilege. So the reception that we're going to put together, Michelle and I and the entire team, but really it's spearheading something to be in the same room, to feel the excitement and the energy of us growing together. I think that that is what makes it so special. And having had the session, the general session, even having the general session about dare to differentiate, I mean, what a nice signal that we are sending, that we are speaking in amplifying the voices of so many men and women members, but certainly having the voices of women that want to create a more inclusive and welcoming community. So you just pushed a button right here, and here I am. But again, the convention is possible because each and every woman wants to contribute, and and daring to be who they are at the core of their essence. And this I think is such a gift of life, to be able to have this wow together.
Steph, how can the Scaling Up Nation participate next week with WOW?
Oh my goodness. Well, can I just tell you, as Paul and the ladies just said, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity. And Tammy mentioned, really just being a welcoming committee. How can we participate? Say hello. I mean, we have an amazing association of people. And that's where I love the conference every year, because I get to see not only friends, but family. And if you see someone that you don't know, please extend a hand, reach out, talk to people, but please, from this podcast, I hope you do look us up. Like Michelle said, please, if you're not an association member, please become one. And we'd love to see you at the conference next week. So thank you.
Well, I want to know, how does the Scaling Up H2O podcast become the official podcast of WOW?
Oh, that is quite the question, Trace. If I said, you got us thinking, and I'm thinking, oh my God, we are a burgeoning. We're so small. I mean, a baby steps. I think that we need to first thank you for even extending that question, and finding our own, if I might say so, find our own personality, and then start threading through this. And then, of course, when we feel ready to come back to you and start exploring, how is this a possibility? And being part of the Scaling Up Nation in itself, I mean, having the conversation going, I mean, it's again, what an honor.
Well, I am definitely honored to be here with all of you.
Paulie going to have to compete with the Paule-Cast, though.
I think that the world is listening to the Scaling Up Nation, really. And I think that Paule-Cast is a really nice initiative. And all initiatives are worthy of being celebrated, but certainly, Trace, we take this opportunity to thank you so much and profoundly for having us, and to salute Corinne and Sean and Margie and you. You're such a great host, and we talk about references and growing opportunities. Each episode makes us grow taller. So thank you.
Well, it's definitely been my pleasure. Michelle, one of the questions I normally ask my guests is if they want to find out more and if there are resources available out there, what do people of the Scaling Up Nation need to know about, and where do they go?
No, that's a great question, Trace. And it's one of those things that even though we are officially a new committee, we already have a lot of resources at our disposal. As a committee, we are planning on doing every year at least at minimum 2 webinars covering various topics that people will be able, whether or not they are AWT members or not, because I know not all of Scaling Up Nation is an AWT member or are an AWT member. But we have webinars that they'll be able to access about different aspects in the workplace, how to encounter different topics that are important to women and our experiences. We also have a book club that we're working on. We're starting with the book Lean In, that we're learning from opportunities from that. That's a part of being on the call, though, every month. We're going to be partnering within other groups within AWT, like the young professionals, and eventually also partnering with some other women-related groups outside of AWT. I know there's several other women-centered groups that are in the science-related fields or STEAM-related fields. We also have at each annual convention, again, whether non-member or member, we have our reception that everybody is more than welcome to come to, whether male or female. We are, everyone is welcome kind of thing. We just want to support one another, and it's a great opportunity for networking and gives women a chance. We have different presenters that come at times and just different topics that are discussed. This most recent one, we did a celebration being an official committee, but there's a lot on the docket for receptions. But at the convention this year, especially, our reception is going to be extremely exciting because we'll have just finished our Women of Water panel as we got approved for presenting at conventions. So we're going to be discussing all of our various experiences and things that we can share to help differentiate the workplace, not just in water treatment. I mean, specifically in water treatment, but also all over the workplaces to encourage women to get into leadership roles and be more active. And then we're also going to have in our pre-meetings, and again, this is more so for members. So this is my shameless plug. If you are a Scaling Up Nation member and you are not an AWT member yet, I encourage you either ask your boss to become a member as a company member, or you can just do it on your own since we now have individual memberships with AWT. So sign up as an individual member, and then you can get access to all of these awesome things. But during our meetings, we felt that it was important that we provide a space for women that if they encounter issues, that they have a place to come and talk. They have a place to dialogue and go through what issues they may be encountering and how to handle them. And so, that will be something that's accessible as well. And to be able to get in contact with us, we do have a couple social media profiles. We have a Facebook profile and a LinkedIn profile. Both can be found by going on and searching for AWT Women of Water -WOW, WOW. And if you do that, we should be the first response that comes up whenever you search. And you can reach out to us that way. And you can also find us. We discovered that we are officially on AWT's website as well. So you can find out more information by going to AWT's website and see what projects we're working on that way. So there's a lot to be found.
We will make sure to link all of those on the show notes page for this episode. So thank you for sharing that with us. I again want to thank all of you for coming on this unprecedented episode, 6 guests at one time. So I'm going to ask one question. It's going to get 6 different answers. And that question is, if you could only get one point across to our listeners today, what would it be? Michelle.
Honestly, these women, we call ourselves the WOW Corps. It's funny, we have that named on our text message thread. And they're so incredible, and they're so uplifting and empowering. And that would be my biggest thing that I would want to convey to people, that whether or not, you're brand new into the industry as a woman, or whether or not you've been in the industry, reach out and connect. There is nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, that should be holding us down or stopping any of us from growing and accomplishing anything. I mean, not to, beat a dead horse, but, it's been said multiple times that there are 3 of us on this call right now that are on the board of directors. I mean, that's the highest point within AWT. We have had a female president within AWT. So the sky is the limit in our industry. You can grow not just within AWT, but in your company. And so my takeaway would just be, find these people. Like Steph said, at convention next week, go and say hi, reach out to people and don't be afraid to, because you belong. Every single female listening to this, you belong. And there's nothing that makes you not be a part of this association, this industry, and you have all the power to do everything that you want to do.
Pam, same question.
Yeah, I think that the biggest takeaway I would hope from a conversation that we've had today is to honestly check your own personal awareness. and be open to the idea that a subconscious bias might be present in how you approach relationships and conversations with others.
Tammy?
I think the best thing I can say is next week, my very first convention, I kind of was a fly on the wall. And if it was a sixth grade dance, I was sitting in the stands and I didn't want to dance. And Tom Granville, I specifically remember him walking up to me, introducing himself, and making me feel like I did belong. And so, as seasoned professionals, I want to challenge all of us to find somebody that looks like they're standing against the wall, afraid to dance, afraid to talk, and just go up and introduce yourself and have coffee with them, find out who they are, because it's not easy being in that room, because we all do know and love each other, and you can feel like you're like the third cousin that's never been at the family reunion. And so for those of us have been there, find somebody new, talk to them, invite them, and make them feel that wow factor, be welcoming.
Genest?
I would hope your listeners, just in listening to our conversation and the discussion that we've had, get a good sense that women are a vibrant part of the water treatment industry. And we're just examples of the many women who are vibrant and contributing to this industry.
Steph?
I love everyone's comments. Ladies, I will just say, the one takeaway that I captured from this, and I hope the audience did as well, is the value of mentorship. And exactly, Tammy, how you just said, when you're anywhere, whether you're at convention next week or in a room of new people, please extend that hand. Every day is an opportunity to be that mentor or mentee where you can be a viable source to someone. But as Pam even mentioned, we've got a lot of amazing men out there too that have extended those arms to us. Let's continue that together, like we've been saying this whole podcast. Welcoming, be wow, and let's just continue to rise together, ladies, and all of our men within the association. Thank you.
Paul?
Biggest takeaway, I would say, the synergy, and also helping out every members know their worth, and for them to know what they can give. And so the Be Wow says it all. Hashtag Be Wow. We belong, we elevate, and we are wow.
You are definitely most wow. Well, we're going to do something again unprecedented. So we've got 6 of you, and I normally ask 4 lightning round questions. So we're going to go into the round 2 bucket, and I'm going to ask an individual question for each one of you in this special only on this episode version of the lightning round. So Pam, if you could go back in time and talk to your former self on your very first day as a water treater, what advice would you give?
Yeah, this is perfect timing for this particular question. I had lunch yesterday with my very first boss manager in water treatment, Steve Eveling. And I told him yesterday that, looking back, I didn't really realize what a wonderful thing we had and how special he was in the way that he managed me in a very personal way. He knew exactly how to manage my personality. And so for me, going back and giving that thank you in retrospect, but having more appreciation of those who invested time in me, in helping me, especially in the beginning of my career.
Paul, next question goes to you. What are the last 3 books that you've read?
Well, first of all, Lean In, of course, and Dare to Lead by Brené Brown, and The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg. That says it all, and it's a must read for all of us. The Dare to Lead, I think that also going back to the roots of being vulnerable and expressing oneself and being welcome, I think is essential to an open communication and mutually beneficial communication. And The 5 Dysfunction of a Team by Patrick Lencioni, it all starts with trust. And I think that us as a team, as a WOW community, because we trust who we are, how we can grow together, it's a huge part of it all. So these 3 books really made a big impression on me lately. Yes. I'm waiting to read your book one day, Trace, but hey.
It has not been written yet. Steph, there is no doubt that Hollywood is already writing the script about your life. Who's playing Steph Choury?
That is a great question. And thank you for even mentioning Hollywood, the next, step for me. My gosh. I've thought about this and I've even reached out, phoned a friend, and Pam and I discussed this. And, we had a really great mutual decision. And I don't necessarily have this woman's accent, but I think she has my sass. So we're going to go ahead and say Sofia Vergara, because I think that she could walk in the room, be a little spicy and, have a lot of humor and fun. So I don't know if I could do her justice, but I think she could make me look great if she was the actress.
I think you should make her read for the part.
Please. Thank you. Let's do this.
Genest, next question. You have now the ability to speak with anybody throughout history. Who to be with and why?
I would love to speak with Eleanor Roosevelt. She grew up in a time when women were definitely, seen more and not heard. She became a first lady to Theodore Roosevelt, and she was his eyes and ears for the country during the Depression. And then following the Depression, she was our first representative to the United Nations. And I would just love to have an opportunity to sit and hear what made her tick, what made her so instrumental as a woman in history.
Michelle, you now have a magic wand that can change anything in the world. What would you change?
Ooh, anything? Oh, wow.
Anything.
Man, if I could change anything in the world, I mean, not to get all sentimental and sappy, but I think I would love to make everybody not see color. Obviously see color in the world around you, but not see color of skin, not see gender, not see anything, and just love one another. I mean, I'm always told that, people love whenever I'm around because I have a smile. I try to be genuine with people. I try to, ask how they are and remember their birthdays and different, celebrations. And that's something to me that makes me tick, and it hits me in the heart, because I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care what you do for work. I don't care if you're a male or a female. Just love one another. There's so much. Everybody is going through, I almost cursed. Everybody's going through something, but everybody has their own different something that they're going through. And it doesn't matter, don't judge anybody for that. Just be a shoulder to listen to people. And so if I had a magic wand, I would take that away. I would, take away people judging people. They always say, don't judge a book by its cover, and don't. I would love to get rid of that, and just so that people could connect and be more personal.
Tammy, what would you say your superpower is?
Gosh, I think my superpower is being able to coach my team to greater things than they thought they could do, to really connect with them and try to get barriers out of their way. And I guess that makes me Wonder Woman sometimes, get rid of their friction in their sales process. That's my favorite thing to do, is figure out, hey, what's in your way? Let me knock that thing out.
I love that answer. I love all of those answers. So Pam Simmons, Michelle Lund, Tammy Faber, Genest Shaw, Steph Choury, Paule-Cast, thank you so much for coming on the Scaling Up podcast and introducing the Scaling Up Nation to the women of water. Nation, as I said, that was a Scaling Up H2O first. We had 6 people on, and we wanted to make sure that everybody got heard. So here is my ask. I got a lot of asks today. Go and find the women that you met today on this podcast and say hello to them. They will tell you everything about the committee that they are on. And who knows, maybe you will start serving on a committee because of that conversation. Well, since we're kind of honoring women in the industrial water community today, I went ahead and pulled some statistics. It's always fun to look at statistics. So the AWT, as far as the membership that they know of, 10% of the membership are women in the AWT. Now, the reason I said what I said is 1/3 of the membership, there's no gender marker on there. People just didn't fill that out, so they didn't have that information for me. So of what we know, 10% of the membership of AWT is a woman in the industrial water treatment field. And then we have a trusted source that we use, that we go to look for different data for different industries. And when we put in the industrial water treatment workspace, we get about 7% of the population of the industrial water space is occupied by women. Well, then we said, hey, let's look at this Scaling Up H2O podcast. Well, in 2023, we had a total of 48 guests, and 8 of those guests were women. So if you're doing the math, that was 17%. Now, we've still got some year left to go, but so far we've had 38 guests on the Scaling Up H2O podcast for 2024. 15 of those have been women, so that's a 40% number of women that we have had as guests on the Scaling Up H2O podcast. Now, here's something interesting. If I go back to that source and I ask what was the concentration of women in the industrial water treatment industry back in 1980s, that decade, it was less than 0.5%. So I just think that is so cool. We've had some amazing women on this podcast. So again, on Thursday night, 6 p.m., come to the Women of Water. We're all going to celebrate. And I just think that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, speaking of the Women of Water, their mission is the AWT Women of Water exists to recognize the contributions of Association of Water Technologies women members while encouraging them to invest their time and talents to the greater water treatment industry. So that's their mission. And if you are at the AWT conference next week, be sure to talk to these people on the committee. So once again, and a thank you to Paul, Pam, Genest, Stephanie, Tammy, and Michelle. We've never had that many guests on before, so that was a treat for me as well. Nation, somebody that you will see besides the 6 people I just mentioned, besides myself, you will see James McDonald next week. And of course, James today has a brand new Drop by Drop.
Welcome to Drop by Drop with James, the podcast segment where we wonder, explore, think about, imagine, and learn industrial water treatment, you guessed it, drop by drop, together. In today's episode, I have a challenge for you.
Challenge accepted.
The challenge is clean and organize your own test kit and test equipment. Previously, I've challenged you to clean your customer's testing area, but today we're turning the tables. Clean your own. Your test kit should not look like Moses used it to test the waters just before he parted the Red Sea. While it does not have to look pristine and new either, it should instill confidence in those that see it that the results obtained are trustworthy and reliable. Old reagent bottles with labels worn off, broken equipment, and a jumbled mess of bottles does not instill confidence. Your test kit and equipment are extensions of you and are critical to doing your job. They reflect upon you and your quality of output and recommendations. Show them a little tender loving care. In the end, it will make your job easier and leave a better impression upon those around you. I'm James McDonald, and I want to encourage you to be like water by forming bonds with those around you, dissolving new knowledge, and making worthy ripples, drop by drop.
James, thank you. Thank you for always making sure that you are challenging us each and every week. And I love the AWT convention because I know I'm going to see James. Last year, James and I got to get caught up at the airport. We were in adjoining gates, and we had about an hour or so that we could catch up with each other. Don't know if we're going to be that lucky this year. So, James, we need to be intentional about our time this year. I hope to see you next week. Please come find me and say hi. Nation, have a great week. Enjoy. Hopefully you're at AWT next week. And Be the best water treater you can be. Have a great week, folks. Scaling Up Nation, I believe there are so many potential CWTs out there, but they just haven't sat for the exam. And I know that that is a daunting exam. I remember when I told people I was taking it, and I was so worried that there would be people that knew if I did not pass it. And I truly believe it's that fear that so many people don't even sign up to take the exam. Well, I am here to help because we built a course designed to build your confidence so you can sit for that CWT exam and prove to the world your excellence in this industry. Go to scalinguph2o.com/CWT prep. Once again, that's scalinguph2o.com/CWT prep and start building that confidence to take your exam today.